Guys, after subscribing to this channel, please make sure that you also press the bell icon so that no notification, no new video of mine, any educational video, is missed by anybody. And welcome, dear students. You know that anatomy series is going on. The series I'm making because of the demands that or the requests that I got from the students on different important topics which have been asked in examinations repeatedly. Which includes the ureter and its anatomy, its pelvic relationships, and its applied anatomy. Of course, its injuries and its management, which I've already taken a class on. Pelvic anatomy, because it's just difficult to understand. You'll not be able to understand anything further if you do not understand, these deep perineal pouch and superficial perineal pouch. Remember, I showed you through a video and multiple pictures collected from different sources, so that the concept of one particular thing is embossed in your mind. Wherever I need to, I use 3D videos. Some are borrowed, some are kind of made by my lectures. Some of them, of course, they are just taken from the net. Why? Because I want to emboss that concept of that particular thing properly in you. And amongst those requests that I received, a very important topic I'm going to take up today, which is the lymphatic drainage of the pelvis, repeatedly asked multiple times in many examinations in various forms. Sometimes they ask you just the lymphatic drainage of the vulva, sometimes it's just the cervix, sometimes it's the uterus, sometimes it's tubes and ovaries. So today I'll be consolidating everything in one lecture, though I have in my different that complete course that I have included them as lectures when I'm talking about especially the malignancy of that particular point. It always starts with lymphatic drainage, which is very important. I've made a separate video on the arterial supply of the pelvis, which was a recent question asked probably in June or December 22, and I hope you get the link in the description that I'm giving you. Also, guys, very important is that you subscribe to this channel and you hit the bell icon. Why? Because all my updates, all my recent lectures, everything that I'm posting on, which is very important for your CME, continued medical education, will be reminded to you the moment I make it. So I request you to please go ahead and subscribe, and of course hit the bell icon, because not because it's just another YouTube gimmick. It's just the fact that all my lectures, because if you do take at least 2 lectures in a week, I do not want you to miss out on those. For example, anatomy series is going on. I think it's the 5th or 6th lecture I'm taking today, or maybe 7th, and I don't want to miss you people to miss out on all the parts I've taken before. So it's very important that you do subscribe and hit the bell icon together, so that you get the updates. Now, moving forward, today's lecture, we're going to describe about lymphatic drainage of pelvis. As you might have seen, I usually include 3D videos, graphics, so many diagrams from multiple sources to just make you understand the topic properly. Otherwise, what's the big deal? Everything is there in the book. My lectures, they're made actually from the book, from the standard textbooks. What I include in them is just the multiple diagrams, sometimes even 3D graphic videos, so that you get a good understanding of the topic. You understand the topic properly, not by your imagination, but from the actual discrete descriptions and 3D figures, so that you can understand from where the nerve starts, how it winds round, then how does it go down. It's very difficult to keep imagining these things. Remember, when there were no graphics, it was not very easy for us to imagine these things. It's always better for the picture memory and for understanding to see the thing as it is. Either you learn it from the cadaver, you learn it from the surgery, or you learn it from these 3D figures, right? Or the 3D videos. So anyways, I have included a lot of them in the last lecture that I took, when I was trying to make you understand the perineal pouches, the deep perineal pouch, superficial perineal pouch, the urogenital diaphragm, the perineum, the anatomy of the perineum, how the levator canal looks like a bowl. The video was moving across the perineum to show you how the ischiorectal fossa is, and how the anal triangle is, how the urogenital. So these things are better understood that way. Anyways, going further today, we're going to be talking about the lymphatic drainage of the female pelvis. So this time I'll just give you a brief outline. I'm not going to read through the slide. Of course, you can do that yourself. So that let's start from the lowermost part of the perineum, which is the vulva. So there are lymph nodes from the vulva, the perineum, they'll go to the superficial and deep inguinal lymph nodes. There are many other nodes also which drain into that. For example, sacral lymph nodes or obturator lymph nodes, they're all draining into the superficial and deep inguinal lymph nodes. And usually we go a step further and then we stop. From the superficial and deep inguinal lymph nodes, it goes to the external iliac lymph nodes. Okay, so we are talking about superficial and deep inguinal lymph nodes, goes to external internal iliac, external iliac, common iliac lymph nodes. Okay, once it moves to the common iliac lymph nodes, then they go on to where do these lymphatics they drain? Of course, they drain into the pre and para-aortic lymph nodes, and we usually stop there. And what happens after that? So what happens after the pre and para-aortic lymph nodes? They go through the para-aortic, pre-aortic, the drainage is into the lumbar lymphatic trunks and the cisterna chyli. Okay, the lumbar lymphatic trunks, the cisterna chyli at the level of second lumbar vertebra, and from there it goes on to the thoracic duct. Okay, the thoracic duct, it drains into the left subclavian vein, internal jugular vein. It goes on till here. So any lymphatic, now do you understand the reason of this massive mets that it goes until here. And once it reaches the heart, which it would eventually, because now we've reached the internal jugular vein, the left subclavian vein, it drains into the heart, goes to the lungs, goes to the brain, and then you have distant metastasis. So the lymphatics, this is actually the way, it goes to stage 4. So this seeding which is going on, it's not just a liquid supply or a water supply or a blood supply. It's the seeding that's going on. The seeds of these cancerous cells, they are traveling and then they are invading and then they are metastasizing. This is what exactly is known as by metastasizing. So those cancers which are spread through lymphatic route, many of them are, this is the path they go through. So he usually stop from inguinal to maybe external, internal iliac, and then we talk about common maximum of pre-aortic, para-aortic. That's it. But what after that? Thoracic duct, cisterna chyli, finally going on to left subclavian vein, internal jugular vein, and then finally into the heart, and then disseminating there from lung to the lungs and brain. That's actually the way the lymphatics, they travel. Now I'll take up the lymphatic drainage from individual organs because that's important to you. Now remember one thing, that lymphatic drainage, don't give it a lot of importance. There are some of you who are really troubled with lymphatic drainage. I have no understanding why. Even if they ask you a 2 marks question or a 5 marks question, the lymphatic drainage does not increase, all right? It's the same, guys. It's the same. It's how the examiner, puts the question forward to you, or it's just the choice of the examiner. If I'm the examiner, I can ask you a 2 marks question also on lymphatic drainage. The same question I can ask you a 5 marks also. It does not mean that, oh, now you have to think more lymph nodes. No, it's the same. The supply is going to be the same, guys. So first of all, do not rack your mind about lymphatic drainage. Even if a 2 marks question or a 5 mark question, you can write the same. Maximum you can do is to put a diagram and try to include those diagrams over here so that you can throw them in the examination and be happy with. So the first is the lymphatic drainage from the ovaries and the fallopian tube. Think first yourself, you'll automatically get an answer. You don't have to rack your brains much. So they drain along the infundibulopelvic ligaments. Where do they go? What is the blood supply? First of all, tell me, what is the blood supply of the ovaries? In the last lecture when I was taking, a lecture was on I think blood supply or what, I don't remember. I think ureter and the ureter's relationships. We were talking about the infundibulopelvic ligament. I was taking the hysterectomy workshop, the abdominal hysterectomy. I was trying to show you, and infundibulopelvic ligament came in between, and I asked you what is the the most important artery that you're concerned about and why you're concerned about that artery. The reason was that you have to be concerned about the ovarian artery because it's a direct branch of abdominal aorta. All right, so over here, ovary is supplied by the ovarian vessels, right? So they drain along the infundibulopelvic ligament in the ovarian vessels through a plexus of lymphatic vessels. And finally, where do they go to? Ovarian vessels, the para-aortic lymph nodes of both sides, and then to the thoracic duct and so on. So that is the reason why that ovarian carcinoma spreads very early, because it's directly going to the aorta. Once it goes to the pre and para-aortic lymph nodes, it bypasses all the pelvic lymph nodes. Just imagine, how the lymphatics of the cervix go. They first go to the surrounding lymph nodes, actuator, the sacral group of lymph nodes. Then they go to the, maybe internal iliac group of lymph nodes. Then they go to the common iliac. Then they go to the preaortic. And ovarian, it bypasses all these local groups. It directly goes to the aorta, the pre and para-aortic. So remember that I was taking that lecture on staging of ovarian carcinoma. I have taken the staging of all the carcinomas. It's there on the YouTube, and I think it's separately there also kept in the malignancies, the separate folder on malignancies. I've kept the FIGO staging, the latest FIGO staging of all of them separately in each malignancy folder. So I told you that how do you stage, and how do you apply your brain while to remember the staging of different carcinomas. So in case of ovarian carcinoma, if you do remember, then preaortic, para-aortic lymph nodes group involvement comes pretty early on in the staging of ovarian carcinoma, right? So this is the reason. It is directly drained by that branch which is coming right from aorta. And to just emboss the concept, I have this figure in front of you. So uterus I'm going to take later, vagina I'm going to take later. Right now just focus on the ovary. So if you can see over here, see, some part of it is going to the superficial inguinal lymph nodes. Some part of it, yes. But otherwise it's going to this part of internal iliac artery and straight to the pre and para-aortic lymph node. So mostly the ovarian and fallopian tube, because they're in close proximation. When you're talking about the ovary and the ovarian blood supply, you do talk about fallopian tube and its blood supply. Also the same time, the same thing goes for the lymphatic drainage. So if you can see, a part of it you can say goes to the superficial inguinal lymph nodes and internal iliac and external iliac group of lymph nodes, but a large part of it directly goes to the pre and para-aortic because it's directly drained from a branch of aorta. And when you talk about ovary, tube comes automatically. Okay. So the next figure now I have is that of uterus. So let's go back. Is it clear, guys? We're done with ovary and we're done with fallopian tube.